Let's say that the average person dies at 80 and the average diabetic dies at 70. The difference is that the type 2 diabetic is going to suffer for 20 years before they die. If you have type 2 diabetes, you may not realize it, but you've made choices that say, I'd like to have a heart attack. I'd like to have a stroke. I'd like to have my kidneys fail. I'd like to go blind. After that, I'd like to live with Alzheimer's for a little while. And then I'd like to die. So you say, yeah, but I don't have diabetes. Okay. Are you overweight or obese? Because if you are, there's a 90% chance that you'll develop type 2 diabetes. Okay, you're not overweight, but you're still not off the hook because 40% of normal weight people get type 2 diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and other chronic illnesses. Even if you don't have diabetes or pre-diabetes, there's a very good chance that you've got what one of the experts describes as an insulin-resistant scenario. And essentially what he's saying is that 80% of the people living in the US are producing tremendous amounts of insulin just to keep their blood sugar in the normal range. So after years of cooking your body in sugar and insulin, if you're between 40 to 59 years of age and living in the US, the statistics show that there's a 50% chance that you'll become pre-diabetic. That number jumps to 75% if you're 75 or older. And once you're there, once you're pre-diabetic, it's just a matter of time before your pancreas starts to tap out and you move aggressively from pre-diabetes into full-blown type 2 diabetes. And by the way, that's what's driving the Alzheimer's epidemic. Doctors are now referring to Alzheimer's disease as type 3 diabetes, or insulin resistance of the brain. Diabetes is one of the most rapidly growing diseases in human history. 20% of our children are obese and 5 times more likely to get diabetes. For the first time in recent history, there's an expectation that the current generation of parents will outlive their children. In the 1300s, the bubonic plague swept through Europe, killing roughly 50% of the population. It was a complete catastrophe that took Europe 100 years to recover from. And in the wake of the devastation, there were a series of social and economic disasters that left a really dark shadow over European history. Fast forward to today. The body count with the type 2 diabetes epidemic is expected to be far worse, and that's why experts are referring to type 2 diabetes as the Black Death of the 21st century. How could this possibly be happening? We live in an age of advanced medical technology. It doesn't make any sense. But then if you dig underneath the surface and begin connecting the dots, things start to get a little weird. For example, heart disease is currently the #1 global killer, right? You might not think that there's a link between diabetes and heart disease, but there is. 2 out of 3 people with diabetes will die of a heart attack. And here's where it gets even more strange. Cases have been popping up where heart disease patients are finding out that they're also diabetic. These heart disease patients had no idea that they were also diabetic. And the opposite's happening too. Cases where diabetic patients are finding out that they also have heart disease. As you dig deeper, you'll find a growing pile of credible peer-reviewed research from medical doctors like Jerry Reven and Joseph Kraft that can only leave you with one conclusion: that the best way to avoid heart disease is to avoid insulin resistance. But it's bigger than that. As your cells become more and more resistant to insulin, you're at an increased risk, not just for heart disease, but stroke, Alzheimer's, cancer, high blood pressure, blindness, and kidney failure. The leading cause of most chronic diseases in the 21st century is insulin resistance. The medical community is referring to it as diabesity, a twin pandemic of diabetes and obesity. The rapid spread of diabesity throughout the world is staggering. Right now, it's the #3 killer in the United States, and it's on its way to becoming the #1 killer in the world. Unfortunately, most people suffering from diabetes have no idea how deadly it is, or that it's nearly 100% preventable, treatable, and reversible. In the 1300s, people didn't realize the cause of the Black Plague, so it just kept spreading. Could that be what's happening right now with this diabetes epidemic? And what about you? Have you been feeling depressed? Do you still feel hungry after you've eaten a meal? Are there times when you almost black out from fatigue or hunger? Have you been feeling more tired than usual? Have you started to notice tingling sensations in your hands and feet? Are you thirsty more than usual? If you've started to notice any of these symptoms, you might want to consider consulting with a qualified medical professional with a background in nutrition to identify your glucose, hemoglobin A1C, and insulin levels. There are real consequences if you don't deal with this issue now. It's important for you to also realize that insulin resistance typically doesn't trigger any noticeable symptoms for a while. You could be insulin resistant for years without knowing, so you might not want to wait to find out what your numbers are. Now, there are a lot of foods that we eat today that weren't here 50 years ago. So maybe that's a clue as to why we're seeing this uptick in chronic diseases. Just look at the pictures of people walking around New York in the 70s versus what you see today. It's totally different. Any mechanic will tell you that the fuel that you put in your car matters. Let's say that you have to take your car to the shop every couple of months to deal with a different problem. Just for the sake of analogy, let's say that the first problem with your car is high blood pressure. Next, it's high cholesterol. And then it's high blood sugar. And eventually, your mechanic tells you that it's all being caused by bad gas. Are you gonna keep putting bad gas in your car? Of course not. And here's something else to consider. Do you put 40 gallons of fuel in your tank if it only holds 20? No. You drive your car and use up the gas, and then you fill it back up when you need to. My point is that if you have an insulin resistance problem, you're probably going to need to activate your body and get it moving again. And you're probably also going to need to make some changes to your diet. There are a lot of companies that want you to believe that taking their supplements will fix your problems, even if you don't make any exercise or diet changes. So just to be clear, we don't subscribe to any of that nonsense because it's just not true. Our philosophy at O2 Worldwide is to offer you science-based nutritional supplements that you can use together with your active lifestyle and health-conscious diet in order to give the cells in your body not just a chance to survive, but to thrive. And it's in that spirit that we're proud to bring you Thrive, our exclusive proprietary stack of 3 very special nutrient blocks to help you beat insulin resistance, fuel your body's healing process, and age-proof your cardiovascular system. The primary nutrient block in Thrive is its insulin sensitivity blend. This proprietary combination of Banaba, Super Shilajit, and Omnimin AC will help you to control your blood sugar and accelerate the reversal of insulin resistance in your body. Banaba has been used for thousands of years in India and the Philippines to naturally treat diabetes. Banaba leaves contain a compound called corosolic acid, which is not only helpful in lowering blood sugar, but it also helps to increase insulin sensitivity. A group of people with type 2 diabetes given Banaba extract for 8 weeks improved blood sugar levels and lost an average of 2 to 4 pounds per month during the study. Shilajit is considered the king of all ancient medicines. The name Shilajit translates as the conqueror of mountains and destroyer of weakness, and according to legend, Shilajit is considered nectar from God. The Super Shilajit found in Thrive's insulin sensitivity blend is sourced from the pristine, untouched Himalayas and contains 50 to 63% fulvic and humic acids. These super antioxidants are ferocious free radical scavengers and highly effective in the repair and regeneration of the pancreas. Omnimin AC is a trace mineral complex harvested from Utah's Great Salt Lake, and it provides a rich natural source of magnesium, also necessary in reversing insulin resistance. Magnesium is considered the master mineral in the human body. It's also the central atom of chlorophyll, and as such, it's the element that gives plants their ability to convert light into energy. The entire basis of life and the food chain is seen through the sunlight chlorophyll-magnesium chain. Chlorophyll might not be the first thing that you'd consider in the fight against diabetes, but it's a powerful phytonutrient that's being used successfully in several alternative medicine practices to prevent and treat insulin resistance. And that's why the second nutrient block of Thrive is our Active Greens blend. This very unique juice powder contains alfalfa, barley, oats, kamut, and wheat grasses sustainably grown on certified organic farms in the mineral-rich ancient seabeds of the Uinta Basin. These grasses are carefully harvested when they have the highest nutritional content and then processed so gently that when you put them back into water, they're virtually identical to the freshly squeezed juice. And the best part is that they're naturally gluten-free. Thrive's Active Greens blend is so densely packed with bioavailable nutrition that it's like rocket fuel, flooding your body with therapeutic amounts of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, enzymes, and phytonutrients. One of the things that's so sexy about our Active Greens is how rich they are in chlorophyll. This phytonutrient is like a little superhero that'll immediately go to work to replenish your red blood cells, neutralize free radicals, improve your digestion, deodorize your breath, and help to balance your body's pH. Chlorophyll is a powerful detoxifier of the liver and blood. It has the ability to bind and flush out toxic chemicals, heavy metals, and pesticides from the body. Chlorophyll is also amazingly similar to hemoglobin and can help to rebuild the bloodstream. One of the most serious consequences of chronically high blood sugar is that it causes excess glucose molecules to attach to your hemoglobin. Imagine what would happen if you attached several tiny shards of glass to your red blood cells. These jagged-edged red blood cells cause a cascade of damage to the endothelium throughout your body as they speed through your heart, blood vessels, and capillaries. And here's the kicker. Once the glucose is attached, it stays on for the life of the red blood cell, or about 2 to 3 months. The bottom line is that Thrive's Active Greens are packed full of the support nutrition that your body needs to replenish itself with healthy red blood cells, which is really important while you're getting your blood sugar under control. Now, the most exquisite part of your blood vessels is the very inner lining called the endothelium. It's only 1 cell in thickness, and if you were to touch it, it would feel like the smoothest silk that you can imagine. You want to keep your endothelium as smooth and as healthy as possible for as long as you can. And unfortunately, we tend to repeatedly put things into our bloodstream that injure the endothelium. And that's why it was such a big deal in 1998 when Robert Furchtgott, Louis Ignarro, and Farid Murad were awarded the Nobel Prize in Medicine for their discovery of nitric oxide. Dr. Ignarro explains that nitric oxide is produced by the body specifically to keep arteries and veins free of the plaque that causes stroke and to maintain normal blood pressure by relaxing the arteries, thereby regulating the rate of blood flow and preventing coronaries. Nitric oxide is the body's natural cardiovascular wonder drug. Nitric oxide is critical in our bodies. This essential molecule signals our blood vessels to relax and expand, creating greater efficiency, greater nutrient delivery, and greater oxygenation to every system, organ, and tissue in the body. By the time you're 40, studies show that you only produce about half or less of the nitric oxide that you did when you were 20. Having an effective strategy to maintain optimal levels is critical because it affects how every cell in your body communicates with other cells. And that's why the third nutrient block of Thrive is a state-of-the-art nitric oxide support blend based on this 1998 Nobel Prize winning technology. Thrive contains the best nitric oxide boosters of 2017 to help heal and strengthen your cardiovascular system. Each serving supplies you with an effective dose of L-arginine, L-citrulline, beetroot extract, agmatine sulfate, resveratrol, and N-acetyl L-cysteine in the correct ratios to boost and sustain healthy nitric oxide levels throughout your body, which will improve the condition and elasticity of your blood vessels and the overall health of your heart. Thrive has been carefully formulated to help you beat insulin resistance, fuel your body's healing process, and age-proof your cardiovascular system. Click on the link below to place your order and start enjoying the benefits that this amazing supplement will bring into your life.